Ironically, some of the biggest news to emerge out of this show, as well as the subsequent days, are just retirements all over the place at light heavyweight. Now, I'm going to be setting this one up for quite a while. Jimi Manuwa was the latest retirement. He's lost 4 in a row. 3 out of 4 fights are head kick, or not head kick, but KOs. He's been knocked out, gosh, I think 5 times in 5 years. That's not great. He's not having great performances. His last great performance was, I mean, you could say the Blachowicz fight. He had a pretty good performance or something like that. But other than that, really, it's the Corey Anderson fight. Alexander Gustafsson is not what he used to be. Alexander Gustafsson has lost 2 fights in a row. He's 2-4 in his last 6. The guys that he's beating are Manuwa, Blachowicz, Teixeira, still very good wins at that. But he's 0-3 in his light heavyweight title hopes. He could never win the big one. And he kept running into John Jones and Daniel Cormier. He got obliterated by Anthony Johnson. We'll start off with the 2 UFC retirements, so to speak, in that regard. But, man, it's pretty wild to see 2 big names that have been a mainstay for years in this division, Joe, just wrapping it up.
I don't know that Alexander is going to retire. I think it's just it's one of those things where he's lost again, lost at home, very emotional, can't seem to just. I mean, the guy's a top 205-pound contender, regardless, no matter what. Is it emotion? Has he been thinking about it? I just saw your message. We'll get to that first. We'll get to that in a second, ladies and gentlemen. Sean just had a good message back to me. I don't think Alexander is 100% committed to retiring. Jimi Manuwa? Yeah. I mean, at that point there at number 11, he's sliding down the rankings. He's getting finished the way he's getting finished. Can't take that punishment anymore. Great fighter still. Don't kid yourselves. Good fighter, great fighter. Can stand and bang with pretty much anyone, but not at the elite of the division or guys that are coming up because, again, the brain can only handle so much. Most guys and girls are mentally stronger than what their body can say or do. As for Gus, I don't know what it is, man. I just don't think he's gone just yet. I think he'll have a sort of resurgence and something will come up.
Do you think that Manuwa should have gave it a go at heavyweight, see how that translated?
I don't think so. I mean, you can say yes because he's coming in at a smaller weight class or a smaller weight than most guys, so he'll have the speed advantage. But heavyweights punch much harder than light heavyweights. So if he's getting dropped by light heavyweights, he will, technically speaking, get dropped by heavyweights.
And Gus has said, I'm with you. I think he's going to end up fighting again. Hey, maybe he should give heavyweight a go. You never know how that's going to work out. Look at the career resurgence Anthony Smith has had, moving from middleweight to light heavyweight and what that's done. But there was another guy who has done that, King Mo Lawal. It was a bit more unceremonious, his retirement announcement. Actually, I believe Dan Lambert announced it on American Top Team's Instagram, but King Mo had lost 3 fights in a row by TKO. And yeah, it was wild, Joe, because at the end of 2015, it looked like he was arguably, you could argue that was one of his top runs ever. Probably, you could really only argue that the one that culminated in the Musashi win was a better run for him. But he went on this run in Bellator where he won 3-4 straight fights, and then he won that Ryzen Grand Prix. And it's like, man, King Mo, maybe heavyweight's the deal. No, he couldn't get it done. Phil Davis, Mirko Krokop, Bader, McGeary. And then when Jiri's beating him in Japan and beating him in that fashion, I think it is time to wrap it up. And pro wrestling, a lot of people say, oh, pro wrestling. No, it's not for him.
Oh.
It didn't work.
Explain. Oh, there you go.
It just didn't work. He didn't like the bumping in the same way that broadcasting just wasn't for him. It wasn't a fit. A lot of people thought it'd be a fit because he came out and he danced and he had a crown. There's a lot more to it than that. Nobody expected Matt Riddle to be an exceptional pro wrestler. He's arguably the best pro wrestler in the world. King Mo did not translate. Rampage did not translate. Tito Ortiz did not translate. From what I understand, King Mo is an unbelievable coach and an outstanding coach. What do you think of his decision to retire? He's not exactly made his affection for money a secret, but he's 38 years old. You think it's the right time?
Yeah, only because so there on one of the Ryzen confessions, he talked about he doesn't want to retire just yet. He wants to compete one more time and hopefully at 185 pounds. I was like, damn, that's
Damn.
that you're having a hard. So you had a hard time against Prohaska in that fight there because he basically faded away. You watch anyone interviews afterwards. Even Yuri said, he started fading away in that second or third round. And I had to go finish him. I was able to finish him only because he was getting tired. You could see the performance by King Mo that he just wasn't the same guy that he was years ago that would kind of dominate, take guys down, and do his thing. He was fatiguing, wasn't able to do much with Yuri. Yuri took advantage of it, especially in the first round because Yuri didn't want to attack in that first round as much because he knew there's the potential, of the takedown and Mo's incredible hook that knocked him out the first time. So in looking at Mo's performance, probably retirement is the best only because his body's not – maybe in training he's fantastic, but when it comes time to execute in the actual ring or cage, it's not showing the way he used to when he was much younger. So, in my opinion, King Mo retiring, no problem whatsoever. Although I'd like to know more because when you come out and you say in an interview or post fight that one more fight, love to do it in Japan, love to do it 185 pounds, only for a few weeks later say you want to retire. What really led to that, or what's the full story behind that? So
he's been through a lot. He was never quite all that he was touted to be, but still, the man beat, as boring as the fight was, he beat Gegard Musashi for the Strikeforce Light Heavyweight Championship.